One day I'm gonna be everything I wanna be. I don't let it get the most of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be everything I'm gonna be. My future right in front of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be free. Then let me be free. One day I'm gonna be free. Mentally and physically, emotionally and spiritually. Yeah. One day I'm gonna be free. I'm standing at the crossroads, feeling like a lost soul. Don't know where I wanna go, but all I know is I wanna be free. They telling me to let it be, but that just ain't in me, no. Jealousy and envy, but all I see is I wanna be free. See everything I wanna be, exactly what I'm gonna be. Don't let it get the most of me. Eventually, I'm gonna be free. See everything I wanna be, exactly what I'm gonna be. Yeah. One day I'm gonna be free. I'm gonna be free. Let me be free. One day I'm gonna be free. Mentally and physically, emotionally and spiritually. Yeah. One day I'm gonna be free. I told them take their aim off me. Stop trying to get a name off me. If they would just let me be, I'm gonna be free. I told them take some chains off me and throw away the locks and keys. If they would just let me be, eventually I'm gonna be free.
Warning of cyber threats from Russia and are urging U.S. critical infrastructure defenses to be reinforced. As CBS's Bill Whitaker reported on Sunday night's 60 Minutes, it wouldn't take much to throw the entire country into dark fire system. I mean, that's unbelievable. But your reporting is it could be even less than that.
That's right, Nora. That report was from 2013, and it actually found the number was even lower, 9. Taking out just 9 critical substations could black out the whole country.
Are you kidding me? 9? What's going down?
What's up? What's up?
What is going
What
down,
up,
though? What up, though? I don't know. You tell me. This is crazy. You said 9 grids on that thing to take out, black out America. What? This is crazy.
That's crazy, right? Well, tell you what, before we get into that, first off, let me say thank everybody for coming out. Like I said, I'm Archbishop 1%er, Mike Ball, and together we're the Diamond Effect.
That's right.
So tonight's show, we're going to be talking about a couple different things. We're going to be talking about the power grid. We're going to be talking about natural disasters. We're going to be talking about a bunch of different things. Not only are we talking about what could happen, but we're going to talk about what you should do if this does happen.
Right.
Are you prepared? Are you prepared to handle if something like this took place? Now, we're not talking about just the power grid. We're talking about Hurricane natural disasters, any kind of tornadoes, floods, whatever.
Sure. Absolutely.
CME, GMD. We'll get into all that here in a little bit. But we're gonna have some people on here. We got a special guest today. His name is Aaron Olinger. He's one of my good friends from Dayton, Ohio. He's gonna be on here tonight, and this man is a survivalist, and he knows a lot of information dealing with this particular subject, and he's also gonna be showing and telling us different stuff that we need to do to be prepared if and when something like this takes place. You know, the reason for us doing this show tonight is that, you know, based on a lot of the stuff that's going on, the stuff that we know and the stuff that we don't know, one of the biggest things that we're doing right now is trying to keep people prepared and ready just in case. You know what I mean? Because it's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. You know, so
straight on that.
So without further ado, let's get Aaron on here.
All right.
We can get pop.
How you doing, kind sir? Welcome to the show. I'm gonna blast it for you.
I'm honored to be here. Thanks for having me.
No, that's awesome. You are somewhat. I wouldn't even say somewhat. You are known as a specialist in this.
That's correct.
This is not something that you just kind of know about. You know, you are someone that don't, you know, I would say dive head deep into this, and you really, you know, what you're talking about on these subjects.
Well, my training started when I was 4 years old. My dad and mom both grew up on farms. They grew up during the Great Depression. My dad always felt if it could happen once, it could happen again. So they started training me in gardening, hunting, fishing, and my education continued to grow up to I was in my 20s, and then from 20s and up, each and every year I try to take between 2 to 5 classes, anything ranging from farming, gardening, survival, all the way down to even firearm training.
That's right.
I've been doing this my entire life.
And from what I know, you actually talk about this. You travel and you actually talk about this. Am I correct?
That's correct. I've been to churches. I've gone to different cities to speak before people. I feel it's my destiny to try to wake up as many people as I can. That's the legacy that I leave behind, is to try to help as many as I can so that they don't have to suffer. They be prepared for the situation and actually thrive through the situation.
Wow. Okay. That's awesome. And you know, I got a little bit of just behind the scenes with you just for a moment, and I already could tell how selfless you are. Really, the passion that is behind this is true. Like, you actually want people to be prepared and ready. To me, that's extremely selfless, because there's a lot of people that disregard human life altogether, and it's kind of almost popular to be like that. So it's refreshing to have somebody that actually cares and wants to help. So with that being said, thank you again for being on the show tonight. And I'm going to let AB, I know he's got a whole list lined down. I'm going to let him run that.
Yeah, man, I'm telling you what, when I started digging into this and I started finding a little bit more, and I learned way more than I thought I knew. I thought I knew quite a bit, but after going through this, I found out a lot more that I had no idea was actually going on. And one of the biggest things is like, now we're talking about this power grid, and this is what we're going to start out talking about. And, you know, like the video said before, you can knock out 9 substations across this country. Now, mind you, this grid is broke up into 3. So you got the Eastern, the Western, and Texas has its own. But in between that, you can knock out 9 substations. And by knocking out those 9 critical substations, you could wipe out all the power in the whole country. Basically, you can put the United States back in the Stone Age. You knocked out 9 substations across this country.
Oh my gosh.
Now, you remember when we had the blackout back in the early 2000s. Now, that wiped out 8 states, blacked them out for 8 states, including parts of Canada. And that happened merely on some plants that had grew up into a power line in Ohio that blacked out 8 states and part of Canada. So if something can knock out, if you got some plants and some trees that knocked out 8 states and part of another country.
This wasn't even an attack.
No,
This wasn't
no.
like planned attack and all that. This is a plant. Dude,
Exactly.
we're on some bad
But see-
technology, dude.
But see, here's the thing. You have a lot of this now. The grid system that we have right now is, they're working on it to make it better, but it's actually way behind other countries. You would think that being that the U.S. is the superpower of the
Right.
world, that you
Right.
have more sophistication or more sophisticated equipment to use dealing with that, but they actually fall behind on this. Now they're playing catch up. And now, being the fact that Russia has already numerous times been in the power grid, they have broken into the power grid, and you have China and Iran that has jumped into the natural gas pipeline grid. So, a lot of this stuff that's going on now is more cyber attack than anything. Just like just a couple of days ago, you had the dealing with the with AT&T, where all the where all the cell phones was out.
Is that
Okay.
why they were offering money for anytime there's now a blackout for their thing, that they're going to give $5 credit to their account now or whatever? That's hilarious.
Well, they doing that just being just more of a, like, since you were being put out your way, not being able to use your phone, they're gonna give you a credit. But that's not the problem. The problem is that you have people from other countries, namely China, Russia, and Iran, that are hacking into these systems. They're doing this every day. This isn't a once a week occurrence. They focus every day on trying to break into these infrastructures, because if you can control that, you can control everything else. So here's one that I was looking at here. It's one. There's a video that Joe Rogan was talking about just here a few weeks ago. So I'm gonna play this for everybody to check out right quick.
Listen very carefully. If the power goes out for too long, all those rules are bullshit, and that guy who will bury a body for you is the kind of person you want on your team.
100%.
The
Also, if the
reality
power
of-
goes out, I'm probably gonna show up to your place.
I got a spot for
be
you.
in the gym.
Yeah.
Go, can I just be in your gym?
I've thought about literally setting up a ranch out here,
Yeah.
just specifically for if things go sideways.
Yeah.
Just
Well, I
a
mean, I
complete
think you're pretty set
self-sufficient
up. This
ranch.
place is safe.
It's not that safe.
Really?
Dude, if things go sideways, it's not safe anywhere. We have to understand that this society that we have that stays civil and beautiful and and equitable, and we have all this change that's happening in the world, this is only possible if you can get goods and services to people and if people have access to information. It is not hard to shut that off. If the power went out in this country, if someone attacked the grid and just destroyed our power grid and destroyed our satellites, if there was a coordinated effort by multiple superpowers to just destroy our satellites, destroy our grid, we would be in chaos quickly.
Pretty fast, yeah.
Quickly, very quickly. And then if it lasts too long and there's some sort of a hostile military takeover of the country, you're living in a totally different world than the one you live in now. Now you live in China, and you never thought that was possible. You thought that, you would be able to just exist here and demand universal basic income, and you would have all these ideas in your head about the border wall's racist and this and that. And then all of a sudden, you live in a world that's unrecognizable.
Wow. That's deep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
That's
something, right?
serious.
Right. So like you say, a lot of this stuff that's going on, like, it's going on but it's not put out there to the point that people's really paying attention as to what could really go on here. And you have, and like as we dig into this tonight, and you start hearing these statistics as to what could really go on, I think it's gonna open up the eyes of a lot of people that's gonna be watching.
I want to also really quick introduce really quick because we got him when we got him. So we're throwing on Black Dragon. Let's get him on. Yeah, let's put him on the spot. Sorry to interrupt.
What's up, BD?
What's up, brother?
So you done got caught out. See? You done got caught out already.
Oh my goodness.
Cheers to that.
So how you doing, bro? You doing okay?
I'm doing good. I'm doing it very good.
You got a full tummy now?
Call you back. I just went live. I'll call you back.
Yeah. Don't sit in that seat unless you're ready. Oh yeah, I gotta love it. So anyway, so Archbishop, sorry to totally just derail there.
Okay, so Aaron,
BS, Mike Ball, that was some straight BS, but we got it. We got you, bro. Hey, Bishop, one thing, Mike Ball has a new name. We've given him a new name.
Oh,
what's
no.
that?
Mike Ball the Wise.
Mike Ball the Wise.
Stop
Mike
it,
Ball
Cat.
the Wise.
Stop the cap.
Just so you know.
So now he's going to be referring me from now on as that.
You want to call people out, bro?
Earlier, I thought you was about to call the police and get him for elder abuse.
I threatened him earlier today, and I can't wait to put his ass in jail.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to keep my mouth shut.
Okay. So, Black Dragon, Aaron, Black Dragon.
How you do, sir?
Great,
Good to
man.
meet you.
I like that sword above your wall. Are you a practitioner?
Yes, I am.
Oh,
Four different systems. Korean Tang Sudo, Korean Taekwondo, Okinawan Shorin-ryu, and Japanese Shotokan. I started my training at 16 and ended it at 60. I'm 65 now. Got bad knees, so I can't do it no more.
You're a brother of mine. I have an 8th Dan in Shorin-ryu. Very, very nice.
Wonderful.
Yes, sir.
Good for you.
That I see your stuff. I see your stars. I see your katana. I see your kamas. Hey, I saw right. You're ready. You're ready. Hey, listen, if we got to go hand to hand.
Okay. When you run out of bullets, you got to transition to something, you know?
Right.
Nothing like having it on the wall.
No, I'm swinging my leg at you guys, you know? I'm swinging this. All right.
Okay.
No fun here.
Okay, let's get back to this video.
Yes.
Now, Aaron, you just watched that from what Joe Rogan had said there. Okay,
Yes.
So give me your input on that.
Okay.
What's the truth? Is what he's saying absolutely true?
Yes, it is. A grid down scenario is actually a society ending event, whether people want to realize it or not. And within the first 72 hours, you're going to have mass confusion because there will be no communication. Cell phones will all be down. The elderly trying to reach their children to come to them or get with them. That's not going to happen. You've got invalid people that count on health workers coming to them. That's not going to happen. Just not having communications is going to create a certain amount of fear and panic in itself. Then the second thing that's going to happen is there will be an elimination of emergency services. There'll be no police coming, no fires coming. You will not be able to summon ambulatory services. That's going to escalate the chaos and the fear that people are going to feel when they realize that they can't even call for help. Then if it's an EMP, your cars are not going to run, which that's going to leave cars blocking the streets. So if someone's injured, how are you going to get them to the hospital? You're going to pick them up and carry them? Average person wouldn't make it. They would bleed out before you could get them there. Then your crime within the first 72 hours, on the time that people realize that grid is not coming back on, which will probably be around the fourth day or fourth night, you're going to have crime escalate off the charts. You're going to have riots that's going to happen. Someone will even happen at the gas stations when people cannot get gas. They'll be rioting at the banks because the banks will be shut down. You will have loss of access to your money. Stores will not be open. So FEMA tells you to keep about 4 months worth of money at your house. That's money to cover all your bills in case the banks are shut down due to cyber or grid down scenario. Now, if crime is jumping off the hook, there's a term in the prepper world that we call WROL. That stands for without rule of law. That's what will take place. You'll feel like you're living in Dodge City at that point. Martial law will ensue within 72 hours. It takes 72 hours for the National Guard to hit the streets. When martial law occurs, they're going to restrict people's movement, and there may even be a gun confiscation. Keep in mind that after Katrina happened, there was a gun confiscation.
On a major scale.
Okay. Then you're going to have loss.
Me that
I'm sorry.
Hold on. So you telling me that even if all this stuff is going on, and you was talking about keeping the money for your bills, you mean tell me that they still gonna want bill money and all this other stuff going on?
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Right.
I mean, even
now we're thinking about it. Like, yeah, am I still paying my like actual bills when all goes to shit here?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yes. I mean, even in nuclear war, the IRS will still come around and collect from you. They'll send soldiers out like they did in Rome, and with the bill collectors, and they will come to collect.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, keep in mind during the Great Depression, when people couldn't pay bills, they got put off their properties. There was no sympathy given to you.
Zero. That's right.
Yeah. So, I mean, if it happened once, it could happen again. And when you study situations that's people gone through in the past, that helps prepare you for what's going on right now in the future. But along with loss of access to your money, you're also going to have a loss of access to gasoline and natural gas. You'll have loss of access to water and sanitation. Your water is going to go down within 72 hours of the grid going down. You will no longer have water coming to your property. Water is the number one prep after any disaster. That's number one. You can only go 3 days without it, then your organs start to shut down. So water is the number one prep. You've got to have it. And along with that, sanitation is important, because if you can't dispose of human waste, you can have a cholera outbreak happen in your neighborhood. You might be disposing of it properly, but if your neighbors aren't, you can have a disease outbreak. So again, when I come back later to address that, I will explain some things that you can have on hand. But loss of gasoline will limit your travel ability. Loss of natural gas, if you've got a gas furnace or gas stove, you're going to lose that ability. With the grid being down, if you got electric stove, you just lost the ability to prepare your food. So you should have at least 2 alternative methods to be able to cook at that point. Also, you should stock enough extra stuff that if you have to barter and trade with your neighbors, you would have something of value that you can trade with someone. If you don't have the ability to trade goods, maybe you're skilled in plumbing or electrical, or you're a doctor or you're a nurse, and you can trade those services. Those will be invaluable. And with loss of power, that means nobody's going to work. There's going to be a total loss of production. There will be no more new shoes, no more new clothes. You're going to have someone that can sew clothing to keep your stuff going until this situation's over with. There's going to be no food, no drinks, nothing coming into the stores. Once they get looted, you're on your own at that point. The larger the situation, the less likely help is coming. You can have something going on in your city, you might see some help. If it becomes statewide, chance of help goes down considerably. If it becomes 3 states wide, now you may not see nobody. Now, what if it becomes regional? What if it becomes half the nation? What if it becomes the whole nation? The bigger the situation, the less likely you're going to see help coming. The situation, the aftermath.
Now,
Oh, well, and this is going to be the new normal. The new normal will be people will go after people with resources, and people will become so desperate that they will go out into the countryside to take resources from other people living in the country. People that you broke bread with in your neighborhood, if they smell food cooking at your house and they don't have nothing to eat, they're going to ask you nicely the first time. After that, they're going to get with some of the neighbors. They're going to say, Aaron's got food over there and he ain't sharing with nobody. Are we going to take this? And now you got an angry mob coming to your house.
That's
So
something to think
They
about.
don't even have to smell the food. All they got to do is see that you're not starving the way they're
that's
starving.
right.
Yeah.
All they
I
gotta
Like,
do
mean,
how are
is see-
they surviving?
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, and maybe not even that. They start to go door to door. But I want to break down some of this stuff. You're
Okay.
running through it real quickly, but I want to break it down. So first of all, let's talk about the gun confiscation for a second. Mike, bring up my screen there. For
All
those
right.
of you guys who don't remember, whoa, did I share the wrong damn screen? For
Yeah.
those of you guys who don't remember Katrina, I just have this up here to show you when this old lady right here. Do you guys remember this?
Situation. She's obviously exhausted, and
Yeah.
or the police for that matter. But this is a woman who, again, as I said, is frail, and she was pointing a weapon at the police, and that's why they had to take her
She
down.
was not pointing a weapon at the police. That was the CNN BS. They went to this woman's house and they were confiscating guns. And they asked her if she had a gun, and she said, "Yes, I have a gun right here in my apron." And she also said that she didn't want to leave her home, and so she showed this gun that she had in her apron. Now, you show me how that's pointing the gun at the police. Can please show me how that's pointing the gun at the police? That lying son of a bitch. And
Wow. I did not know this happened.
yeah, and she was saying, "I don't want to leave my property. I'm good here. I got food on the stove, as you can see behind her. I'm doing good. I don't need to leave my property." And so they asked her about her gun, and so she pulled it out of her apron and said, "Yeah, I'm well protected. I have a gun." They tackled her, beat her up, and took her gun.
Again, as I said, is frail, and she was pointing a weapon to take her down. But once again,
That's a
Soledad,
goddamn lie.
a real challenge facing the city as they have to get these folks out of town. It's obviously not safe to be here because of the disease.
They got to get these folks out of town. It's not safe to be here. So the government decides during this Katrina incident that they're going to take people out of their homes that don't want to be in their homes. And they're using all kinds of stuff like there's diseases. You'll hear this guy go on to say all of this nonsense. But we watched in real time the government go house to house, confiscating people's guns. Some people had gun collections that were like 200 years old that had been passed down since Bonanza and the Big Valley.
Wow.
And they had gun collections, rifles, Winchesters, all kinds of stuff in these big gun cabinets. All of this stuff was taken only to never be seen again, or when it did get back, it was rusted and destroyed. This is what they did. So this is the one thing that he's talking about when he talks about gun confiscations. The government confiscated people's guns under the guise of, well, there's so many looters and stuff running around in the stores and looting the stores, this, that, and the other. So we got to stop people from fighting each other, and they violated the Second Amendment and all this kind of stuff. Well, he talks about the government, the National Guard coming in. Takes 3 days to get there. When the National Guard came in, they came in with machine guns, pointing them. If you've never been in the military and you've never faced a tank, the first tank I ever faced was during the Watts riots. It was absolutely terrifying. This was the second one. This was the one in the 1990s, and watching the National Guard deployed on American streets was the most incredible thing I'd ever seen. And these guys were serious. They looked like they would kill you in a freaking heartbeat. So this deployment, they put these people down. The first thing they do is restrict your movements. They put a curfew out, and they say stuff like, if you're found after this curfew, you can be shot. This is something that they'll say to you. During Hurricane Katrina, when the National Guard is out pointing guns, they pull up into the city under the guise of everybody's looting. So they get out of these big old huge deuce and a half trucks, pointing machine guns at people. And this was the first couple of days of this. These guys pointing these machine guns, and it wasn't until they got General Onifre, he came in, and one of the first thing he said is, put these damn guns down. Stop pointing these guns at our citizens. So this is, I'm pulling this up for you, Katrina, so you guys can see these videos. It was absolutely like, a lot of people have forgotten this. This is how many years ago. Here is troops going house to house in New Orleans. 3, 2, 1. Here is
to begin this.
police going house to house, and National Guard going house to house in New Orleans to make people leave
Now
their
he's telling
homes.
me to get out.
So
I've
what's important about this is, if you have some sort of something built up, you've got some food, some stores, you've planned for this, and your house is doing just fine, and they decide they need to scrape an area. They're going house to house like they're doing right here in this video, telling people. This lady saying, I've always wanted to start. I'm an American. She said, I'm American. You can't make me leave my house. I'm an American. And look at these guys walking around the street with machine guns.
Damn. It's trashed in the
This
street
happened
too.
in the United States of America. This wasn't no damn EMP.
And this wasn't that long ago in all retrospect.
No. This wasn't that long ago at all. So this is, you don't have to have Tiatwakwi, we call it. Tiatwakwi, the end of the world as we know it, another prepper phrase. And we have another phrase, when the shit hits the fan. These are all phrases that we have. And so you lose order, the rule of law, when the shit hits the fan, and the end of the world as we know it comes into existence. All these phrases, they all come together in the prepper world. And the understanding that prepping your home is only a piece. If you have shelter, if you have food, if you have conveniences, if you've stored, then you're going to have to fight to keep it. And eventually you're going to find a tougher force. And when that tougher force comes, then you're going to have to be able to bug out. So all these are part of the prepper plan. And I'm sure he'll talk about it more, but I wanted to stop and talk about those few things he brought up. Confiscation. The other thing he said was something happening in the first 72 hours. If you cannot stay in your home for 6 weeks, then you're probably going to be part of the first die-off. You got to be able to sit in your home and not leave it, not for food, not for water, not for anything, while the idiots kill themselves off out there. That's the first die-off. The first die-off of any kind of a disease like COVID or whatever, some kind of superbug, the first die-off period is about 6 weeks. So you got to be able to hunker down somewhere and not move and not make a sound for about 6 weeks to survive the first die-off. If you're out in the street looking for food, looting, like they sent the National Guard to stop people from looting. So if you're looting, you're killing, you're doing all these kinds of things, you're trying to survive, there's going to be people out there, if not the homeowners themselves, the people, there are going to be people to stop you from this. It's a good way to die. If you loot something, it's like, the thing where they have a little fish gets eaten by the big fish, gets eaten by the fish. You've got all these fish lined up. As soon as you steal something, here's somebody to steal it from you. So you got to be able to be hunkered down somewhere that you can defend for a long enough time for the first die-off to happen. I'll turn it back over to you now, Aaron. I'm sorry.
Okay, no problem. Now, what I would recommend is a basic of 6 items that you should be prepping right now if you're a beginner prepper. Number 1 is going to be water. That's the number 1 prep. You can only go 3 days without it. Number 2 is going to be food. Number 3 is going to be medicine. Any sort of over-the-counter meds that provide relief from pain, suffering, colds, flus, because stuff's going to go around, and even your pharmaceutical meds. You should be stocking that up. And pharmaceutical meds are usually the most forgotten about in people's prepping.
Totally.
And I would even advise you to put back some vitamins, because once your diet changes, you want to maintain your health in the best condition possible. And if the food that you're eating doesn't have a lot of nutrition to it, vitamins would help you keep your health up to a certain level. Then next, you're going to want to have some form of security, because you're going to have to protect everything that you have. And lastly, if you've got the budget, because I'm a budget prepper, if you've got the budget that you can afford the luxury item of electricity, either a wind turbine, a solar generator, or some sort of a fuel generator. And if you go with fuel generator, I'd recommend one that would run off of gasoline as well as propane. That's called a dual fuel generator. Because if you can't find gas, you may be able to find propane, and you're still in business if you can do that.
I didn't know they made those.
Oh yeah, they do.
That's super smart. Absolutely.
Yeah, you can go to Home Depot. They've got one there that's about 3,500 watts that power most of everything in your house, and it runs off of propane or gasoline.
Wow.
So
wow.
That keeps you in business, because I mean, you can take those 20-pound propane tanks and literally run that generator in an emergency.
Wow.
But those 6 items. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Have any of you heard of this FEMA preparation plan that they put out? They have a plan that they put out. Go on the FEMA website and get it. Here's the kicker to it. It's 200 pages long as a preparation plan, just in case shit hits the fan and you don't know what to do, because you basically 9 times out of 10 you're gonna be on your own. It's I got a video about it that I'm gonna show you right quick.
Let's run it.
Everybody knows who FEMA is, right? That federal organization whose job it is to save our butts in the event of a disaster. But I bet you didn't know that FEMA, on their website, everybody knows who FEMA is. Everybody knows who FEMA is, right? That federal organization whose job it is to save our butts in the event of a disaster. But I bet you didn't know that FEMA, on their website, has a guide to show private citizens how to prepare for disaster. That's right, the government organization that we pay.
I don't know what's going on.
Everybody knows who FEMA is, right? That federal organization whose job it is to save our butts in the event of a disaster. But I bet you didn't know that FEMA, on their website, has a guide to show private citizens how to prepare for disaster. That's right, the government organization that we pay to take care of us in a disaster has a guide that lets you know that at some point you're going to be on your own. That guide is 200 pages long. Let me show you a quick look at. Everybody knows who FEMA is, right? That federal organization whose job it is to save our butts in the event of a disaster. But I bet you didn't know that FEMA, on their website, has a guide to show private citizens how to prepare for disaster. That's right, the government organization that we pay to take care of us in a disaster has a guide that lets you know that at some point you're going to be on your own. That guide is 200 pages long. Let me show you a quick look at the table of contents. Here's the cover. Go to the FEMA website and download this PDF. It's free and it could save your life. Here's the web address. Go get it, read it, and learn something. Because remember, they're with the government and they're here to help.
Yeah, right.
It was right. That last one was funny, wasn't it?
They're here to help.
You know the funny thing dealing with that, and me and talking about this yesterday, is that, and I know Black Dragon know this as well, is that every plan that the government comes up with dealing with any type of scenario, there is always a margin for collateral damage, which means that they know that within any different circumstances that they're going to be a certain degree of loss. They know that they're going to lose something, but to be able to keep it as less as possible. So you may lose a couple thousand here, but if I lose a couple thousand here, but I can keep 10,000 over here, then it works itself out. So
Right.
For them.
think.
But if you're part of the loss category, it ain't doing the damn thing for you.
Now, I'm coming to a point here, and this is one that I wanted y'all to comment on. Now, back in our generation, growing up, we camped out, we hunted, fish, learned how to trap, all that other stuff. You know what I mean? Some of us
Totally
still do
different
it.
time. Totally different time.
This generation now, they don't want to do that. They don't want to go out in nature and learn how to fish and hunt and do all the stuff that we used to know how to do. And Boy Scouts and Cub Scouts and everything else that we was a part of. Learning these skills. These kids nowadays don't do that. So you would think that if something like this took place, most of the people that would probably die first would be the younger ones that don't know how to do this. You know what I mean? Because a lot of the older ones grew up learning how to do this. So my question is to you guys is that what is it that we can do as the older generation to try to put some kind of knowledge into these kids as to what to do in these situations? Because stuff like this is not like we're talking about it now, and it's not if this takes place, it's when this takes place.
Totally.
Because sooner or later, this is going to happen.
What you mean is when this takes place again. It's already taken place. We just saw it down in Katrina. Hundreds, if not thousands, of people died. There was all kinds of stuff. Even law enforcement. They shot and killed and murdered some folks down there on the bridge, and they went to some of those guys. Police officers went to prison for that. All kind of stuff was going on. Hey, when the police officers say, I quit, I got to go home and take care of my family, you got a problem. So it's not if it's going to happen or when it's going to happen. It's when it's going to happen again. It's already happened a few times in this country. We've been Iraq before. We've been China. Yeah. And
okay, so what do we do in
this
situation? The fact that we know place. What is it that we do?
One of the things is we do this right here. Aaron, you're on. Aaron, your microphone.
Yeah, I do that because he's feeding back, so I have to unmute and mute every time he speaks. So, anyways, go ahead.
I wanted to make a suggestion here. Let me make one statement, and then I'm gonna come with an answer for you. By me coming on here, I'm not trying to sell fear to motivate people. I'm trying to sell preparation, because if you're prepared for something, you have the confidence to know how to handle a situation. You can thrive through that situation. Otherwise, fear and panic is all you got. You have a chance through preparing to get out in front of something and be prepared for when it happens rather than react to it. You never want to be in a position where you react, because you may not always be able to react. Now, to answer your question, I have a notebook here. It's pretty thick. It's full of information. It has my grandson's name on it. There's an old saying that when an elderly person dies, a library of information dies living. And I mean, think of how many recipes have been lost through time because grandma died and those recipes wasn't left, and the ones who picked them up didn't do nothing with them, didn't do nothing with the knowledge. If I die before my grandson reaches a certain age, I'm putting together books of information that will serve a purpose for him. So we have to look that far down the road and start preparing for our grandchildren and start to build generational wealth and information for the future generations. Otherwise, that information will be lost when we die. I mean, that's the legacy I'm trying to leave behind, is leave people with information that they can hand down through generations of their family.
Have you thought about making that a book, like an actual book that you would put out?
This is my third one.
There you go. Good. So good.
I mean,
Good to hear.
I got
You know what I
another one
mean?
laying next to me here that's even thicker than this one.
Wow.
But you know, if people get in touch with me, I'm willing to mail things to them, send information. They go on my Facebook page. They can copy photos of information. I post information every week that's free. All you have to do is just go on my page and download the pictures. I've got people that tell me they have a whole separate thing on their phone of information that they've copied just from my Facebook page, because they know that if the grid goes down, they may not be able to communicate with the phone, but they have a photo library that they can access and pull information up on.
So speaking of, well, I'm going to put your banner down right here, right now. So this is where they can actually get in touch with you, and probably, I'm assuming, get your books and stuff like that.
Well, I've got some merchandise and things that I can sell that I would be willing to send them pictures of. And I would also be willing to consult with them. I mean, I don't charge a consulting fee. I'm trying to help as many people as I can. You know, if we have to talk for an hour on the phone and they want to take notes, I can give them all kinds of information on directions they can go in.
Right on.
I mean,
Good. That's awesome to hear. I love to hear that you're selflessly giving back, you know, and that's amazing to hear. You just want to get, and this is exactly what Black Dragon was saying. You know, well, this is one of the things that we do right here is discuss it, not only as, let's say, us in the garage talking about it, we're actually telling the audience and showing the audience what they may need to be, or not what you should and absolutely be ready for.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, Aaron, let me ask you this. So,
yes, sir.
Have a couple of products there that you can show, like, okay, so this is some stuff that you should already have. If not have, you need to start preparing to have right now. Is this some stuff that you have right there that you can show, like
yes,
what you like kind of start out with?
Well, knowing that the grid would go down, you're going to want to have some sort of light at nighttime. This is a solar yard light that's 50 candle power. You clip it on, it's very bright. That's the solar panel. You just put it outside in the light. Sit in front of a mirror in your living room or whatever and use the mirror to help reflect the light. It'll light a whole room up. All you need is sun power.
Smart.
Okay, you get two of those for probably about $25.
Yeah.
I have another light here. This one I sell for $5. Has a little lock on it.
Mm-hmm.
You turn the lock, this handle comes up, and all you do is you squeeze. That charges up the battery.
Wow.
And you click it on. This helps you to save your batteries in your tactical flashlights. If you keep burning them, they're going to go through your batteries fast. Something like this you can use when you don't need emergency light. It gets you over through a pinch, and then if someone's attacking you, whatever, you can go to your tactical lights. Those are about $5. This is called a 4-in-1 flashlight. It has a crank on the side of it. You crank this thing up for about 3 minutes. And you put the handle down. You have two different light settings. It has siren on it. So if you're involved in a cave-in, you got weight pressing against your chest, you can hear rescuers up top with dogs. You can sound that alarm and the dogs will hit on that. It also has a antenna in the bottom. You click on the radio.
Wow.
You can hear emergency broadcasts that will be being broadcast by the government, so you can pick up information. So you've got AM, FM radio on it, flashlight with 2 different settings. And then on the side here, it has a port. If you pull it open, it comes with a cord that if you plug into that and start cranking,
You can
you can
charge.
charge the cell phone up.
Mm.
So it has 4 different purposes.
You
Yeah.
got one over there too.
Right.
Hell yeah.
One of these,
Oh, hey, I got
you're looking at
Got
about
mine.
$28.
I've got
Then
Say that again, Dragon.
I've got one too.
Oh, you do? Okay.
this is a camp light. You lift this up, works off of 3 AA batteries.
You both got them.
Very, very bright.
Oh,
Okay.
look, Dragon's like, I gotta go grab my gadgets now.
Now,
I gotta go get.
flashlight on the
I got
back.
you. Yeah, I got you. Do what you need to do, Dragon.
Got him. Got him.
Flashers. And then you also have SOS.
Yep. The actual blinking of
It
SOS.
runs off of 3 AA batteries. So I just showed you
And it's
2 hand crank devices. Right. I showed you 2 hand crank devices. I've showed you 1 solar device and then 1 battery powered device. And you're still not even touching your tactical lights. But it's just something that you could have light, because at nighttime when it gets dark, you hear people gunfire going on outside and people screaming and hollering. It's terrifying on the morale of you and your people to be sitting in the dark.
Totally.
If you've got light inside the home, it means a lot to people.
I missed that solar one. Which one you talking about?
Right.
But
Then you get into water purification. Anyone that's ever watched Survivor knows that if you drink contaminated water, you're usually off the show in 2 to 3 days, because it'll kill you without treatment. I go by the military belief that 2 is 1, 1 is none. So I will have 2 of something to back each other up rather than just having 1 of something. I have water purification tablets. And this is in my bug out bag. And then I have life straw. Now you can go up to any river, creek, whatever, put the straw down in the water, and you can draw that water up. But if you boil the water, drop you some water purification tablets in it, you're using 2 methods to purify that water. Or you can boil the water and then use the life straw.
Wow.
And again, 2 is 1, 1 is none.
Absolutely.
I mean, if you've got 2 of something, you're guaranteeing that you're not going to get parasites or whatever. But I will advise you this: if you see oil or gasoline floating in water, these items will not work on that.
Right,
You're going to need
That's too much.
probably a big Berkey purification system or something much more complex, much more expensive.
and you also had an actual water bottle with the filter.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
Right. Now, food wise, now I don't sell these. Well, I do sell the MREs. These are meals ready to eat. They have all the calories in it. Your body needs 1,000 calories a day to be able to function properly. Under that, you're going to start to have problems with your organs. So you need a minimum of 1,000. So these have between 1,200 to 1,500 calories depending upon the meal. It has your main entree. It has a cookie. It has trail mix in it. It's got, some of them have peanut butter and jelly and crackers. They have many different things in them. They come with a plastic fork, spoon, napkin, even a thing of coffee, creamer, and sugar in case you had to have a cup of coffee. However, I recommend only use a half a cup of water, because otherwise the coffee's kind of weak. Right. Now, these will have between a 5 to 8 year shelf life. You might even get 10 out of them if you keep them in a cool, dry place. Beyond that, you get into freeze-dried foods, Mountain House and Peak Refuel.
Mm.
Peak refuel is restaurant quality. What you're going to do is you're just going to heat up some water, pour into the bag, let it sit for 10 or 15 minutes, stir it up, and the food, peak refuel, I'm telling you, that's restaurant quality. It's good. Mountain House is a little high in sodium if someone has a salt sensitivity, but you're talking 50-year shelf life with this. So you
50
don't have to
years.
rush it. And it would actually be your third line of defense, because when you're setting up your food pantry, your first level is going to be what you got in your refrigerators and freezers. When the power goes down, refrigerator is good for 24 hours. Your deep freeze is good for 36 hours. After that, you got to start figuring out what you're going to do with that food. Now, if you got skills that you've learned along the ways, like pickling, smoking meat, salting, honey glazing, canning, you can extend the life of that food out. But let's say that you have none of those skills. Well, after 36 hours, you're going to be throwing away a lot of meat.
Mm.
So your second level of defense is going to be foods that will go a year to 8 year shelf life. That's going to be your MREs and your canned goods. You want a balanced diet, so it's got to be canned fruit, canned vegetables, and canned meats. Watch the salt content on some of the canned meats because it can be high, but if you boil the meat first, you can boil some of the salt out of it.
So real quick,
Go ahead.
quick, I want to butt in. So Aaron, so Jason asks, Aaron, what do you think about bullets and drugs being used as a currency when it all falls down? What do you think will be the main currency?
Okay, main currency would be any creature comfort. I mean, if you can make moonshine, you're going to have something to trade. You got
We can't hear you, Dragon. Can't hear you, Dragon.
If you got cigarettes, you're going to have things to trade.
Firearms.
Yeah.
Any sort of drugs or pharmaceuticals or flu medicines, different things like that.
If you know how to.
Now, I discourage you from using bullets as trade, because if you're trading bullets, you could be arming up an enemy and he'll be shooting them bullets at you to come and take your resources from you. So I would want to discourage you from trading somebody a bunch of bullets.
Right. I agree with that.
But let me go back to the food. Now, at the second level, that's going to be food that lasts 1 to 8 years. Canned goods, MREs. When you get beyond that, you're going to go 10 to 20 years. That's going to be your dry products, sugar, beans, rice, different things of that nature, spaghetti, things that you can put back in Mylar bags with oxygen absorbers, and that will hold out for that length of time. And then there's some foods that have an indefinite shelf life, like honey, for example. It will become solid in a glass jar, but if you put it in lightly boiling water and let it sit in there, it will return back to its liquid state.
I did not know that.
It was canned, yeah. And then if you're stocking canned goods, make sure they don't have no dents or scratches or holes in them, because that seal may have been broken. You could end up with food poisoning behind it.
Oh, wow. Look at that. Yeah, you got to be able to dispose.
Yeah, that's got the airtight seal in it.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Now,
once you get into that higher level of 10 to 30 years of food, your last line of defense is going to be a renewable food source. You're going to want to put together a seed bank. I don't care if you got a little pan around the house, whatever, start stocking seeds. Because if you can start a grow the following year, you have a renewable food source. If you want a renewable meat source, I would recommend chickens, tilapia and bluegill for fish if you got big aquariums in the house, and rabbits, because they breed faster than anything. So that those 4 animals would be a renewable meat.
Vegetables. You can't just eat meat alone. You're gonna have to have vegetables, and if you're gonna get seeds, you have to make sure that you get heirloom seeds.
Mm.
You can use some hybrid seeds, but I don't recommend it. A lot of the heirloom seeds will make future generations of plants, where some of the GMO type things, they will not make it. They will not make future generations.
Going down to the local store and getting seeds doesn't work that way anymore. You have to really go and hunt down heirloom seeds. the people like Monsanto, places like that make seeds, have made seeds where they are one generation seeds, so that the farmers have to go back and buy over and over again. And they've created these seeds. They act almost like weeds. They can blow over into your field and take over your crop of heirloom seeds. So there are places that have actually stored heirloom seeds away for these kinds of situations to repopulate the world, because so many of the seeds have been genetically modified and will only produce one crop, and then you got to go back and get another set and another set.
Wow, I didn't know that part either.
So a lot of farmers will be able to tell you about that. So if you want to grow crops and stuff, and that's in your mind, you've got to start collecting heirloom seeds.
What I also want to recommend at this time is that people get out and experiment. I don't care if you just grow some plants in a few flower pots around your house or in some buckets. Start learning how to grow these plants so you know the ins and outs of it, because there are some ins and outs to doing it. I mean, this past year I experimented with what they call it, galvanized water tanks, and I had a container garden, and it produced so well for me that I decided to increase the size of it this year. And I plan to have some chickens this time for some egg laying. But
and so when you get your chicken, if you're going to have your chickens,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
if you're going to have your chickens, most people should think about having the chickens to eat the eggs and not having the chickens to eat the chickens.
Right.
So, that's a more sustainable protein source than eating your chicken and your drumstick.
And it reproduces itself, like that. Yeah.
Right.
Different kind of chicken, because you have some that you can get just for eggs, and then you have some that you can get for eating. I know the ones that's for eating, they can only get so big before their legs and stuff get feeble
Right.
and break. You know what I mean? So you can get different kinds of chicken to do what you want.
Yeah, the chicken, you have three different types of chickens. You have egg layers, you have a multi-purpose chicken, and then you have what they call meat birds. And meat birds don't lay no bunch of eggs. And after about 8 months, you want to definitely take and get them butchered, because their bodies, they grow so fast that they'll have a heart attack and die on you if you don't hurry up and get them to market, basically. I mean, I did 4 classes last year on how to humanely butcher the birds and cut them up and bag them up and put them in the deep freeze. We did 4 classes. We had different people come out. The class cost $20. It was very minimal fee. It lasted about 3 hours. All the people had to do was just put in the time to come.
Wow.
How many people came?
Unfortunately, I would have like 35 or 36 that would say they would come. And at each class, I'd only have 5 to 6 people would actually show up today. Everybody had a million reasons why they couldn't make it, but
always does. That's people's nature right there.
Oh, it'd be nice to someone teach you how to kill and slaughter and clean and pack a bird, than having to learn how to do it on yourself and mess up a few of them when you were really hungry as hell.
And that's when the power's out, so you don't have no YouTube to be looking at. You know what I mean? Because we got the YouTube University crew. So.
Okay, now let me bring this up. Since we're talking about we've talked about the grid, about the stuff that you can do to sustain yourself and stuff that you need to get. Now, let's get down to the brass tacks, though. Let's talk about the stages. Now, with these stages, me and Aaron spoke about this fluently yesterday. Now, you have people out there right now that's probably listening to this and be like, oh, well, you know what I mean? It may not be as bad as you think, or it may not be as bad as people say that it's going to be. Not knowing that the government has already calculated the collateral damage based on the different tiers that's going on. So, for example, I'm going to go through stage 1, and Aaron, I want you to hit stage 2 if you would. Okay, so stage 1 is between day 1 and day 39. Okay, so between day 1 and day 39, now these are losses, okay? You're going to lose 1.6 million people from exposure, depending on the weather. Now, let's say this is winter or early fall going into winter. Let's say you're going to lose 1.6 million to exposure. You're going to lose 6.3 to thirst, 9.6 million starving, 4.7 million for lack of services, 3.2 million for suicide because they just can't take it, and 22 million to violence. So between day 1 and day 39, they stand based on their plan that there is a potential for you to lose 47.6 million people within 39 days.
Question.
That's how serious this could be.
How many weeks?
That's just stage 1.
How many weeks is 39 days?
39 days is what, 5 weeks? Let me see, 4 is 30. 5 weeks and 2 days.
What did I say the first kill rate? What did I say the first kill was? Do you remember?
First 30 days.
I didn't catch it.
I said
First
30 days. No.
I said 6 weeks.
6 weeks. That's what it was.
The first kill off, the first die off.
That's what it was. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Occurs in the first 6 weeks. So pretty close.
Yeah, that's insane. Right. 47. You said 47 million?
47.6 million people.
So do you understand why it's important to be able to sit in a spot and disappear for 6 weeks?
Yep, absolutely.
Because that's the first die off. That's the first major die
You
off.
heard 22 million for just violence. People are going to be going crazy. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah, this is crazy.
Bro, we saw it. Remember the Superdome in Katrina? Remember you couldn't go into the bathrooms. Remember all the gangs they had running around? Remember all that?
Yes. Mm-hmm. I do.
Mm-hmm.
I do. It's crazy. So
that's just one city. That was just one city.
Right.
And this part. Go ahead here. This is just the stage 1.
Right. That's just stage 1. There's 3 stages. So stage 1, you lost 47.6 million in 39 days. So Aaron, break down to them.
Where do they put all those bodies and all that stuff?
Yeah, for real.
We're gonna come to
we're
that.
Gonna bring the stages up first, and then.
Oh wow.
So go ahead. Day 40 to day 90. Now keep in mind these figures are coming from notes taken back in 2015, where today we have a higher risk of World War III and different things breaking down than we did in 2015. But whether people realize or not, there's between 40 to 52 million Americans that are on meds that they have to survive. And there's like 30-something million of them that are on meds like Prozac, lithium, things that help them to control their minds. But these people cannot get their meds, they're going to be violent.
Absolutely.
When you hear people say they're preparing for the zombie apocalypse, that's what they're referring to. You're going to have millions out there running around with no meds to help them control themselves. Now, violence will escalate. There will be a loss of civility. The average person will do things that they would never do because desperate people do desperate acts. I mean, that's just the rule of thumb that people need to understand. Here's the kill rate for day 40 to day 90. 37.4 million will die from lack of medication. 57 million will die from violence. 13.1 million will die from exposure. 4.9 million will die from thirst. 23.7 million will die from starvation. That's stage 2, which is day 40 to day 90. Because you got to keep in mind that when they ran this, they figured out that 90% of American people will die in the first 6 to 18 months. 90%, that's 1 out of every 10 people you know. I mean, 9 out of every 10 people you know.
Only 1 is going to survive out of it.
Right. Now, stage 3, which is day 91 to 180, or actually day 91 to wherever it ends, it's going to depend upon the season that the disaster occurs. Now, if the disaster starts in, say, October and you're going into winter, that's the prime period to get the highest death count. When people are tired, hungry, and cold, they become desperate quicker. Okay, that's going to be the mindset. Winter, more people will die from exposure and violence. Spring, when spring comes, disease from all the unburied bodies will spread quick. The estimated 76 million to 92 million will die from violence, exposure, and disease in stage 3. So basically, every edge, every skill that you can develop right now is an investment in yourself and an investment in your family. So you want to get all the knowledge you can, but you can't cover all the bases yourself. You have to build community. You have to get out and find people that are doctors, seamstress, mechanics, people that you can trade and barter with, that, or if they come into your home to be with you, are bringing skill sets that are useful. Anyone
right, it's your true network now.
Anyone that comes to you and says, well, I can fight, that means nothing. You got to look at what they're bringing to the table other than that, because if things get that bad, everyone capable of holding a weapon or bearing a weapon, including children, will have to use something at that point. But if they say that I'm a great gardener or farmer, or I'm a nurse, or they got skills that will be readily available, you're going to need that. And then I'm going to show you one other thing that you're going to need during that time period that you can get now if you take the time to do it. This is called a Jace case. Okay. You go online, look up Jace Pharmaceutical, or just type in Jace case and it'll come up. And what this is, there's a whole bunch of antibiotics in here. You can legally buy antibiotics over the market. Because I'm going to tell you, when people start getting sick, or when they start eating contaminated food illnesses like listeria, salmonella, E. coli, without being treated, those will kill you. But if you got antibiotics, you can treat that. This also has a notebook inside of it. And it will tell you everything from bioweapons down to basic infections, how much of something to take, or if you had to take 3 different ones, it would tell you how many pills to take of each thing to treat that person. If you don't have antibiotics on hand, all you can do is watch your family suffer and die. And you don't want that to happen. About $250, an investment in your future and in saving your people's lives.
What's the store life on that?
They get gangrene. It tells you what to take in there to try to cure that.
How long is the shelf life on that?
Actually, it's a long time if you keep it in a cool, dry place, or you could put it in a refrigerator on a low temperature. The thing about antibiotics, they don't become poisonous. What they do over time, they start to lose their potency. So you may end up having to take more of something. But this company here who ships to you, they will allow you to buy 1 a year. So I would advise a lot of people to get on it. Now, if you don't have that available, you might be able to get away with using veterinarian meds, because in any war front, when they run out of primary meds, they switch to veterinary meds, because mammals are mammals. They all take the same antibiotics. The animal antibiotics, when I researched it, they may go through 2 filter processes, where the human antibiotics go through 3. We get 1 more process of filtering that the animals don't do. But what you will notice is they have them all in the same labs. They're made at the same labs for animal as well as human. But you've got to have some antibiotics on hand. That's a must-have item if your budget can afford it.
They're not giving you a whole lot here.
No, it's not, but it's enough to save a life.
Yeah, they're not. It's 206. Put that up there. It's $269 in the United States, $349 in Canada, and so you do need to buy one of these a year, because you need somebody. Also, just think about the meds that you're getting. If you have some of this stuff you see here, collect this up on your own.
For real. Yeah, that's a good point.
Now, they will ask you questions online, and what they will ask you is your health conditions, because you may have an allergy to a specific med that they sell. If you divulge certain things about you, they will put substitute meds in to send to you rather than send you the standard pack.
Oh, that's something to think about too.
Hey, listen, they got this stuff all the way up to $738.
What about these?
That's an important one too, especially if we go into nuclear war, because you have to take one tablet of that each day. It's a thyroid blocker, and it blocks your thyroid from absorbing radiation. And
No
for the
shit.
first 14 or 15 days, the radiation levels are at their highest point. So if you're taking that for the first 14 days, when it drops down to half power on the rads, you'll be okay. You won't be suffering radiation sickness. But you can go online, you can go on Amazon, different places to order the IO set.
I'm telling you, man, I've been dealing with this man for years, so I got a stockpile on everything. You know what I mean?
Yes, you do. And I can tell that you two definitely talk a little bit at bare minimum, because you definitely got a lot of the same shit that you got too, you know. So, and so does Dragon. So does Dragon. I'm very impressed.
Yeah,
I'm very impressed with everyone. You know, I feel totally under, you know, right now. And this is, if you guys are feeling like this, like how I'm feeling a little bit right now, guys, if you can, just simply go invest a little bit to be able to at least have, you know, the first 6 weeks covered. I would recommend, you know, at bare minimum, you know. So that this is wild, man. What an episode.
Could I offer one more suggestion?
Please.
Along with your self-defense, I would want to encourage you to learn how to use a blowgun and learn how to shoot archery, either with a crossbow or a bow. Because when people start going into the woods and start hunting, if they hear a gunshot go off, they're going to know that you just dropped an animal, and you may have been a gunfight to try to keep that animal.
Mm-hmm.
But if you use a bow or crossbow or a blowgun, you could take an animal down quietly and probably be able to get it back to your retreat without everybody coming after you trying to get it from you.
That's a really good point that you just made there. I mean, you fire off some rounds, you know, they're going to hear where that was, and people are going to come running. This is no joke. This is not normal hunting game and stuff like that. No, this is like survival. And if there's shots you know, being fired, there's going to be people running to you to that location immediately.
Look at what happened. Look at what happened in Venezuela when their economy collapsed. They actually rushed to zoos and the aquariums, and they killed the animals at the zoo. That's how desperate they were for food. They were running in there with machetes and guns, shooting and killing, because they had to feed their family. And I'm going to tell you, your sense of smell increases when you're hungry like that. Right now in your area, if you start up your barbecue grill, somebody might smell your food about a block away. But if a person is starving, they can smell it a half mile away. Their noses will turn, and they look like the Walking Dead coming your direction.
Man, that's something to think about. Don't be cooking no bacon in your house, dude. Damn, you're going to be attracting like everybody in the world with just cooking a little bit of bacon. Shit.
Knowing that
you better make sure that we.
I don't know if you guys know enough, but the reason why, what do they call that show? Naked and Afraid. The reason why they only go 21 days is after 21 days, you start to have problems with your organs if you haven't been eating and consuming 1,000 calories a day minimum. So they purposely stop that at 21 days. If you can win by attrition, if you can outlast the dummies that are out there and just let them starve to death, let them eat contaminated food, contaminated water. Everyone ain't meant to be saved. I mean, I don't want to see people get hurt. That's usually why I help as many as I can. But you have what they call werewolf preppers out there, and those are the ones that plan on being organized and coming to take people's stuff. They make jokes about it. The generator you got, the guns you got, the bullet.
Taking it.
You're buying that all for me. I'm coming.
Essentially all you're doing right now is you're stockpiling. You're spending all your money doing all this just for me. Thank you. You did all my shopping for me because now I'm just going to take it. Exactly. No, I get what you're saying here.
Yeah, well, you got
See, but that's like doing that.
you got to come get it. You talked about it. Now you got to come get it. You and all your thugs. That's why you build up a. That's why you have to understand that prepping is a neighborhood thing. You got to have your own neighborhood, where whether you guys disappear to some place or you have something set up, or you're in a community already, or you've moved into a community, or you've picked out 5 or 10 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 of your neighbors that you can trust, and you say, okay, when the shit hits the fan, we're going to do this together. And you practice with those people and you prep with those people and you practice shooting and like nobody can stay up 24/7. So maybe the plan is, okay, we're going to all move to such and such's house, take over his basement, blah, 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 and live in this way. You need 7 gallons a day to survive. You need this, you need things like this. So it's a community. No one is going to sit on, you're not going to sit on 2 years worth of food and you're a sole person off in a house somewhere. Even if you're out in the country, they're coming out to the country to get it. Even if you're down in a hole, if people get hungry enough, they're going to start prodding the ground, looking for folks down in the ground in holes.
AB, I know you were about to say something. I want you to say what you were going to say.
No, actually, I was going to talk about something that Dragon had just brought up about being able to start that, knowing that you know you can't do it yourself, just like he was saying. You have to get some like-minded people that's actually going to be a part of what you're doing, and like each group provides certain things to where you're not sitting there stockpiling everything. One person could be bringing water, somebody's bringing gasoline, some bringing generators, some bringing this, you know what I mean? But if you have enough people that can do that, then yeah, you can basically just set up your own little compound.
This tells you to be a good neighbor, man. And a lot of people ain't good neighbors. Ain't that right?
I mean, how many you in right now? Like I can tell you, the neighborhood I'm in right now, I know 2 people,
right?
2, and that's just coming to see them. Rest of them, they stay in the house all the time, so you don't even see these people.
Well,
you know what I mean? It's not
unique. It's actually the same way here.
Knock on some doors. Mike, there's a picture right there of the animals they actually broke into the zoo to get.
Oh, wow.
Eating zoo creatures in Venezuela. They got these pig-like pictures. They broke in there and got these animals. And the other thing was they said that there were all the other animals in the zoo starved. When the people couldn't eat, they couldn't feed the animals. They wound up feeding some kinds of animals to other kinds of animals just to keep the like the big predators and stuff alive. They would feed them gazelles and stuff. This was crazy.
That is crazy right there.
Yeah,
that's radical.
Yeah, crazy.
Going back to what Art said, be careful of your words when you're filling out people. You don't want to make yourself a target. It'd be best for you to go to your neighbor and say, well, I've been hearing a lot of this stuff about these preppers getting ready. What do you think about that? See how the neighbor responds. You don't want to go to him and say, hey, man, I'm stocking up a whole bunch of stuff over here, because now you made yourself a target. So be careful of your wording and just feel them out to see where their head is at, and be ready to use gray man technology. Gray man techniques, because if you see somebody outside and everybody outside is dirty, don't go outside smelling like you just got through having a shower with Irish Spring.
And you have to tell them, you have to tell them
yourself.
Aaron, you got to tell them what a gray man is.
Yeah. We don't know what a gray man is.
Well, gray man's person that he blends in with his he's camouflage. He's in plain sight and he looks just like everybody else.
So you're not smelling like Irish Spring and washing your ass. Everybody else is starving.
Yeah, you don't want to be looking like, all freshed out, diamond chains. I mean, you're just like, putting yourself on the chopping block.
Not a gray man at that point.
You're definitely not blending in. You don't want to be all fresh, looking like you're going to a banquet. You know what I mean? There's going to be, you're going to be a huge target. Absolutely.
A lot of times you're feeding yourself just above starvation, so you're skinny like everybody else.
Right.
and you're stinking like everybody else. And
Right. You don't want to be sitting there if you got running water and clean, what you got the whole 9 yards or whatever it is, you're keeping yourself clean and all that. You don't want to be going out there smelling like a flower, dude.
but something that we did, I just want to take a minute to say something that we did because we were in a motorcycle club and we started this after Katrina. We actually opened up a what we call a war chief. And so if you're in a motorcycle club or some other fraternity or sorority or whatever the case may be, you already have like-minded individuals around you, people that you already trust for the most part. So you got a big ass clubhouse down there, and there's no reason not to stock it and get it ready because everybody can retreat to the clubhouse, put tents up around it. You already got security guards. You've got your whole everything that you need for people that are like in motorcycle clubs like ours. And a lot of folks are already armed and ready and prepared. And there's already a semblance of order. We already know who's in charge. There's already a political social structure that's already going to be, because all those things have to be set up. How people are, who's in charge, who is in charge when the person in charge is no longer in charge, and all these kinds of political things. These dynamics can wind up, you bring all these people in your home and now they take it over or take it from you or something like that. So already having these situations set up like in a motorcycle club or some other sort of something, like-minded people, you don't have to know your neighbors because I'm not going to be here. I'm going down to the clubhouse and we're all going to be there. Just some thoughts. Go ahead, Aaron.
That's the question. What about a physically disabled person?
Mm-hmm.
That's even a greater disadvantage. I mean, if there's a way that you can work out, I mean, all of us, even the guys that are on here, we should be training. We should be putting ourselves in the best shape that we could be in to be able to go through this situation. If you're physically disabled, you got to build your community. You got to have a conversation with the family that if something goes down, we're all going to this person's house. This person is the rally point. We're going here. We're going to hold out here. Got to get everybody on board and let them know that you're not going to be standing outside drinking bottled waters or having a plate of food in your hand. We got to keep things under wraps. You got to have this conversation with people ahead of time, get everybody on the same program, because in the first 72 hours, your communications is going down and you're not going to be able to talk to everybody. Once everyone realizes what is happening, they should be moving to the rally point. There is safety in numbers. There's truth to that. I'll stop there for right now.
Man,
you're
these are
absolutely
heavy
correct.
things to
Yeah,
talk
you're right.
about, man.
Man, it's a lot of, but you know what though? There are, like we put down a lot of information now, but there are actual books that you can get to that's going to teach you a lot of the stuff that's going on. Matter of fact, I got a video about that. Let me hit that one right quick. Let me see if I can find it right quick.
Yeah, no worries.
Let's review books you should have in case the internet goes down. What could go wrong? EMP, natural disaster, civil unrest. Let's review books you should have in case the internet goes down. What could go wrong? EMP, natural disaster, civil unrest, war or armed conflict, cyber attacks, economic collapse. You get it. Having books with useful information will not only make you more well-rounded, they could save your life. Let's get into a few suggestions. All of my suggestions can be found at buckhorncliffs.com with a breakdown of what's in each book. For technical concepts, U.S. Army Survival Manual. When all hell breaks loose, stuff you need to survive when disaster strikes. For traditional skills and homesteading, back to basics. A complete guide to traditional skills. The Encyclopedia of Country Living. Complete book of home preserving. For DIY and home improvement, the complete do-it-yourself manual. For wilderness survival, Pocket Guide to Field Dressing Game, Mountain States Medicinal Plants. For medical care, Where There Is No Doctor, a Village Healthcare Handbook. The Survival Medicine Handbook, the essential guide for when help is not on the way. And great for all-purpose general referencing, Pocket 4th edition reference guide. For a list of all suggestions, head over to buckhorncliffs.com. Question: what would you add to this list?
Man, all right. So that's a lot of information, right? So we just spoke about how knowledge is power in this, and so evidently there's a lot of books written on this. So now I'm not someone that is like a known prepper, okay? Like, so it's, I know of course there's these people that have been prepping and prepping for years and all this stuff, and now it's like time, you know what I mean? And so I look at these books and go, wow, like they really have done, you know, they've written things down, they've gotten everything in an informational way to put it out to you guys. But a lot of people, they're just going to wait until the very last second, kind of like what I just did. And I just self admitted that it's like, yeah, what are you going to do after 6 weeks? You know, can you even survive that long in your own home?
I would
Yeah,
recommend.
absolutely.
I would recommend having at least 10 to 15 cases of water on hand. And I'm talking the cases that are like 32 to 40 bottles of water that you'd get at a warehouse club somewhere, not the basic 24s. 10 to 15 cases would last a family of 5 exactly 6 weeks. In 6 weeks, you'll be able to know whether it's still safe to remain in your property or if you should be bugging out.
Right. You good over there, Black Dragon? You got audio that's
That's not
going
my
nuts.
audio. That's not my audio, is it?
No, I just muted Aaron. It's Aaron's side. Okay, no worries. It sounded like it was you. So,
You know, people still have to realize this isn't just what we talking about this grid. You know, we still talking about, you talking about EMPs, you talking about civil unrest, war, cyber attack, economics. You talking about solar flares, corona mass injections. You talking about everything. You know what I mean? So this isn't just one particular that we talking about. We're talking about a multiple amount of stuff. But let me ask you this: does anybody see that that flood that they had up in New York back in like, I think like September, October of last year? Did anybody see that? See how massive that was right in New York City? Has anybody seen that? Did you see it, Dragon?
Yes, I did. Yes.
So I found a I found a video about it. It was unreal about how much water that it really was in New York City itself. And it was crazy because they were talking about the reason why they got so much of that flooding was because, you know, of course, New York City is all concrete. Concrete don't absorb water. So of course it flooded. But then you talk about it on the other side that you have, you know, global warming, if that's real. Then you talk about, you know, the HARP experiments. Is that real? You know, and a lot of them are pushing on that because of, you know, the reason why we haven't been getting all the hurricanes that we should be getting. If you notice, for the past couple of years, a lot of those hurricanes has been veering off before it hits the states. Has been veering off
right.
and just staying out, and that's because there has been a what they call an anomaly that has been sitting right up under the coast of Florida. It's kind of like a buffer. So when it comes through, it's been pushing it back out in the ocean,
Interesting.
which has been a part of this HARP experiment. Now, you know, they were talking about, you know, everybody was thinking that HARP was just a U.S. thing. Not a U.S. thing. The U.S. has it. Soviet Union has it. China has it. Great Britain has it. The UK has it, and several other countries have the same technology that they're actually using these frequencies to control how and where this weather is going. They're saying that, you know, you got one side that says, oh, we're going through you know, this global warming and all that. That's the reason why we're having these bad storms and stuff. But then you got other people who was like, no, it's not global warming. It's because they're using this HARP, and now they've even raised a lot of the levels to some of these storms. You know, so now you talking about they're talking about potential for Cat 6 and Cat 7 hurricanes and F6 tornadoes that can happen now that you never ever seen before. You know what I mean? So you would think that even if this was real, even if that was real, and that's really what they're doing is messing with these different frequencies and you basically playing Mother Nature. You know, eventually, once you play with something for so long, eventually something's gonna happen. You know what I mean? Something's gonna happen to where you're not able to control what goes on and everything goes haywire. You know what I mean? So just like in New York, I'm gonna try to play this one because I want y'all to see. I want y'all to see the magnitude of this. Now, I knew that it had flooded in New York. I didn't realize it was this bad. So I'm gonna try to. I mean, I don't know why my videos has been lagging today, but I'm gonna try to play this because I want you to see a couple things. And I know a lot of people have not seen this and be like, "Wow, I don't believe it was that much water." But yes, it was in New York City. Okay, so I'm gonna play this right quick and see.
Heavy rain.
Yeah, no.
Heavy rainfall pounded New York City today, causing major flooding. A rush-hour rainstorm has swamped New York City, shutting down the subway system, flooding streets and highways, and delaying flights into LaGuardia Airport. It is not over, and I don't want these gaps in heavy rain to give the appearance that it is over, said the governor. Traffic was at a standstill, with water above cars' tires. People not affected by the flood were left stranded in their car on sections of the highway that weren't flooded but were not moving for 3 hours. Never seen anything like this in my life, a New Yorker said. The Metropolitan Transportation Authority, which runs subway and commuter rail lines, urged residents of the nation's most populous city to stay at home. Virtually every subway line was at least partly suspended, rerouted, or running with delays. Towns and cities around New York City also experienced flooding, including New Jersey. As the planet warms, storms are forming in a hotter atmosphere, making extreme rainfall more frequent, according to atmospheric scientists.
Damn.
Did you see all that water?
Yeah,
Have
sure
you
did.
Have you ever heard of a city flooding like that?
No.
No.
So I seen another video where it had flooded so much that the rats had congregated in a spot. Like nobody tried to do nothing to them. They just left them alone. They just congregated in one spot because they had been washed out of all the holes that they were in.
Right.
And they found one little dry that they all congregated in. And it was like hundreds of rats just sitting on top of each other, trying to keep from getting wet. I have never seen New York flood like that.
That's insane.
Now, if you see flood like that now, you can imagine what's to come.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So a lot of this stuff that we're talking about, it's like, okay, we're not talking about this stuff to scare you. We're not talking about this stuff to make you feel some kind of way. We're talking about this because this is stuff that's really going on. And you have to take some kind of a proactive step to make sure that you and your family and your kids are safe, because this can happen, at a drop of a hat. And when it happens, just know that FEMA and the National Guard and whatever, they're not coming to your rescue. You have to be able to sustain until help arrives or whatever. You got to be able to keep this going. You know what I mean? So, back years ago when we first started doing this stuff and first started gathering up stuff and prepping and stuff like that, people was like, "Oh man, them people crazy. They just for gathering up shit for no reason." this. You know what I mean? Now you see where, okay, they was ahead of the game. When you thought that these people were crazy, they're not
Yep.
crazy at all. You know what I mean? They just seen what you didn't see. You know what I mean? It took you years to figure out that this is what was really going on, that they just happened to just be more keen as into what was going on back then as opposed to now. Now you seeing what it really is. And you know that it can literally happen like right now. And while we're sitting here doing this program, all hell could break loose while we're sitting here talking right now. You know,
Yeah.
you don't know.
No, well, you actually,
You know, so
it was hilarious earlier today. Dragon actually went through an entire power surge where it was probably like a solar flare or something. And he lost complete everything. Like his streams went down, everything. It was pretty radical. It all happened in real time.
hmm
So, I mean, that just happened
yeah.
today. That's an example. That happened today.
Well, you know, over in Texas, back in was it last winter? They were almost, they had like maybe 4.5 minutes left before they completely lost that grid. And you know, Texas has its own grid. Like I said,
Right.
there's only three. You got the east, the west, and Texas has their own. They were 4.5 minutes from losing the whole grid. You know, because of winter weather that came through that doesn't normally go through Texas, that froze everything, you know, froze the
I was
lines,
not ready
everything
for it.
that they were not prepared for. So if you're not prepared for that stuff, and you know, these are, mind you, these are multi-billion-dollar companies. Why are you not prepared for this? You know, they even make a it's a little box, it's called DEFCON, that you can hook up to your car, truck, whatever. So that way, if anything ever happens, like a power grid, you know, whether solar flare, EMP, or whatever, that your vehicle will still run if you had this DEFCON installed into your vehicle. It somehow uh, basically just keeps it away from your vehicle,
Right.
that
It
you'll
must
be able to
disperse it
operate
somehow.
the vehicle right in those situations. It's costly, but it works. You know what I mean? So you have the military that's you know, they're rectifying all their bases and stuff like that to be able to withstand, you know, something like that. But why have they not put anything out to the general public to be able to do the same thing? You know, so you fortifying everything to make sure that your weapons and your planes and everything else is good, but you're not fortifying nothing to where the average homeowner can fortify their house to make sure that their electronics still work or their vehicle will still run. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
unless you have a old vehicle sitting in your backyard that you ain't messing with, your old Chevy truck or your old Ford truck that's not digital, you know, that doesn't have all these computer gadgets and all that stuff in it, that's about the only thing that's going to run if
Right.
something like that took
Your
place.
1986, you know, Toyota Tacoma, you know, it might
Right.
run.
Right.
Your radio may not run, but your engine will.
You know, yeah. So back then, you know how everybody picked on you because you had the Gremlin, but the Gremlin gonna be the only thing running right now if this ever happens. You know what I mean? That Gremlin is still gonna be able to run. You know, but they do make that little device. It's called DEFCON. I looked it up the other day, and you hook it up to your
How much do they
vehicle.
want for the damn
And
thing?
was that?
How much do they want for the damn thing?
It was a couple $100.
That's
It
not
wasn't
bad.
like too expensive. Yeah, it wasn't like too expensive. But you buy it, it's like a little box like this with a couple wires, and you hook it up. And what it does is, if anything like that happens, then it basically deflects it. It doesn't fry your computer system to where you're able to run your vehicle. I was
That's
trying to
more.
find a vehicle.
That's more than $200 right there. That's more than $200.
I'm sure there's cheaper ones.
$500.
Hey, when
Well,
he was
there.
saying money, I thought he was saying a couple grand, you know, for something like that. But hey, that's
I'll say
better.
a couple bucks.
Here's
Yeah.
one for $640.
Yeah.
Hey man, they got the whole kit for you right here, bro. Holy moly. Well, hey, it's some people buy stereos.
Yeah, exactly. That's a very good point.
I mean, but
Yeah.
something right there though. If you didn't happen to just be somewhere and actually heard about that, you would never even know that even existed.
I didn't. I had no idea. I had zero idea that that was even a thing.
I knew.
No, so maybe they need to DEFCON need to they need to shoot me a
Go
little
ahead, Aaron.
something.
Aaron, I don't know what's going on with your microphone, but there's something going on where your microphone is going crazy, so you can't hear you.
Okay.
You may have to Nope.
Nope.
Sounds like a wires going in and out, like halfway in and out, like nonstop. Pause. There we go. Let's see if that works. Oh.
Okay. To offer an alternative solution. There was a group that I trained with some years ago that's no longer around. But what they did was they went to the nearest junkyard and they bought a bunch of computer chips and a solenoid, because in an EMP or CME, solenoid in your car and your computer chips are going to get fried. And they just went there and bought similar chips and a solenoid from junk cars that would fit their vehicles. They put them in a plastic bag and they had them handy to keep their vehicles running in the event they could switch them out.
Wow. What do you think of that, Dragon?
That's better than this $760 monstrosity that you don't know is going to work or not. Like, who has an EMP to test it? Okay,
right. How am I going to test this?
I've installed it all now. Let's take the neighborhood out. Let's see if it works.
Let's take out every car except mine.
I need more than a cool name. It's got the DEFCON name. I need more than a name and a cool symbol.
I need some testing. I need to see it being used.
Now here's one for
in real time.
Here's one for 179 right here.
All right.
There you go.
Well, I'm sure they got some kind of video about it.
That's an alert system, though.
Oh. Faraday. You know, these things are called Faraday cages. That was what they were used to be called in the old days. So
yeah,
wow.
That's an EMP alert. It just lets you know that it happened.
Oh, is that what that is?
It just let you know that an EMP happened.
Well, if you want one for your vehicle, they start at 439, baby.
I'll know when it doesn't turn on that we're in the middle of an EMP. I'll know when my phone shuts down and every electronic is gone. Yeah, I don't need a tester to let me know that EMP just happened. You know what I mean? The car will just shut down. Boom.
And everybody else's.
And everyone else too. You'll look around going, am I crazy? Nope. Everyone's done.
But my little motorcycle, my little Honda
there you go.
320. It's a 320 cc's. That sucker is kickstart. It's it's a lawnmower pull. It's a mini bike. It's a lawnmower pull.
Yeah, you can't beat that. Now you're running. You're running as long as you got the fuel.
Running and y'all ain't.
Yep.
Oh Lord, man. Well, look, we done been on here for almost 2 hours now. We've been on here for 1 hour and 50 minutes. So what we're gonna do? We're gonna start with Aaron, and we're gonna work our way around and do our closing. So, Aaron, anything that you want to put out? Here's your chance to do it.
Okay. The biggest thing I want people to understand right now is stop talking about what you're going to do and get started doing it. Because we don't know how much time we got left. You can see by the current events going on in the world today, it seems like we're close to something happening now. If nothing else, you know the weather anomalies and things that happen in your region of this country that you live in. You should at least be prepared for those. Again, we're not preaching fear here. We're just talking preparation. So to me, there's an old saying, it's not the smartest that's going to survive. It's not the strongest that's going to survive. It's the person who can adapt to change the quickest. And the one that can adapt to change is the ones that's got the tools and the knowledge. That's what's going to get you over. I'm going to stop there.
Right on. Well, thank you so much, Aaron, for first of all even coming on. And I know that you've got a busy schedule yourself, and all the things that you do, you actually, like I said, for the people that are just coming in or have missed it, he actually speaks around the country and talks about this, whether it's churches, what, it's amazing for him to do these things and actually do all sorts of things to be able to teach others, like for instance, how to skin a bird or however you want to put it, you know what I mean? Dealing with a bird or whatever like that. Like those are things that a lot of people in our day, my generation, doesn't know how to do. Simple tasks like that. And Aaron, go ahead.
One last thing too. If your budget is extremely tight, do what I do. Go to some of the free food giveaways given at the churches or the food pantries. Pull up in line, they'll load you up, and any money that you don't have to spend on food, that's money you can put towards your preps. So if you're a budget prepper like me, take advantage of that because it's free and they give away good stuff. I'll stop there.
That's good. This has all been very, very good information. You guys are definitely ahead of the game, let's just say, against, let's say, someone like me. This was a very informative episode, and it makes me definitely jot down some notes and some things that, I need to get myself. And I hope that there are people in the chat that are seeing this and going, okay, I mean, I would hope that all you guys are prepared, but I know that's not a fact, so information like this is key, and understanding what is to come, what the possibilities are, and how you can best adapt to them, exactly how Aaron said. You have to be able to adapt to your surrounding completely. Otherwise, you're gonzo, right? So nonetheless, this was an amazing show. I want to thank Archbishop and Black Dragon and Aaron for you guys being on the show. And what an amazing, informative episode. AB, we seem to do these super, super informative videos that I don't see a lot of or any other YouTubers doing. And I don't know if they're like scared to talk about it for some reason, scared of the monetization. I'm not sure what the deal is, but information like this is the stuff that should be pushed out. You know what I mean? And only you guys can make that happen by liking the video, subscribing, checking out everyone's content. It means the world to all of us when we see you guys off of YouTube, for instance, when we see you guys direct message us on Instagram or Facebook, stuff like that. Those are big things. So we appreciate all of you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. BD, what you got, brother?
So this right here is my quick go bag if I got to go right now. I have about 9 of these go bags, depending on, so I've got a big, huge one. So if I get time to prepare and set up my truck and blah, 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 I've got months worth of stuff. But if I got to just run out of the house right now, I got the red bag and I'm gone. It's got what I need to survive. I have a plan. So the plan is based around what I need to do to hunker down in the house and protect the house with whatever neighbors or whatever friends are around. The plan escalates to if I've got to unask the house and maybe we get to the clubhouse. The plan also is incorporated, like next to my office is a 40-foot RV. The RV is set up. It's got a generator, air conditioner, stoves. It's got the propane system. It's a home away from home. It can move, and it can pull my vehicles and take all my go bags. And then if I have to depart that, I can just compartmentalize down to where all I have is the motorcycle on the back of the RV that I have to unask. I can go down to the clubhouse. So we have in our club, we've got a plot of land that one of the brothers owns that's got about 200 acres on it. And that's in part of the plan. So we've set up these plans to make things happen in case we've all got to get somewhere and try to last out. The Aaron is absolutely right with all the things he said and he's been teaching and things like that. many of the things that I saw those guys with, I have all that stuff. Funny thing about it, you put all that stuff in a bag and you come back to that bag and you look at it a year later and stuff leaks and stuff and rubber gets moldy or whatever. You actually have to do maintenance on your go bags. I've got the a water, one of those water things where you can suck out of it and it kills it takes care of 99% of particulates all the way down to microorganisms. Yeah, that
they both showed it.
I've got my life straw right here. And so but they also have a life straw for a family. They've got one of a 5-gallon bucket life straw. They've got all this stuff. And you might look at it as toys. And listen, I didn't buy any of this stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't buy any of this stuff altogether. I bought this stuff one piece at a time. There are things to start fires with. I got so much damn stuff in here. But if you don't pull it out and practice with it, if you don't make sure it works, if you don't toy around with it, if you don't familiarize yourself with it, if you're not checking on it, then you just throw it all in a bag and when you need it, it's not in any kind of order or anything like that. He talks about being fit, physically fit. I always talk to you guys about getting skinny and keeping my health up and go out and I'll punch the punching bag, do what I can to stay in the best shape I can for a 60-year-old. And just trying to move things forward. I mean, I don't have I don't have AB's guns over there that I see on his arms over there. But hey, man, if I'm trying to get that alligator he killed to eat it, we gonna roll around on the ground, man.
I got metal legs, man. We're all right. We're all right over here. We got metal legs.
And beat AB's ass. That's what you got to do. So,
hey, and mine's not battery or any type of electric powered, by the way. So it's not like an EMP is going to turn off my leg. All right. You know what I mean?
I think Aaron said the two biggest things, stop talking about what you're going to do and thinking about what you're going to do and doing it. Even if you have a shoestring budget, you can't afford the $200 days kit. Is that what it's called? Days kit. You can't afford the $250 days. That days kit goes up to like $738 if you were to get just everything they had. You can't afford that. Then the Jace kit. I'm sorry, you can't afford that. Then you do what you can. You do what you can. A guy who can only save pennies still can have a sizable savings if he just saved those pennies.
You're absolutely right. And just for an example, I mean, you could just buy rice and beans in small quantities, and if you can't afford, yep. And that's an example of not being able to maybe afford something like that at the moment.
And then put those bags in a airtight thing. You've got a 25-year supply of stuff your own self. So the pity is, and for people who say, I believe in God and God's got me and I don't have to worry about it. God's going to take care of me, blah, blah, blah. Even in the Bible, there is a dictate to be a prepper. And I forget, it's the story of what was his name? The guy whose brother sold him for dead. And then he wound up in a leper colony. And the Pharaoh was having these dreams, and he goes to see the guy, and the guy says, "Oh yeah, what happened is in your dreams there's 7 years of feast and 7 years of famine, and in the 7 years of famine and pestilence there's not going to be anything to eat." And he goes, "Well, what do I do about that?" And he goes, "Oh, that's just real easy. In the 7 years of feast, you save up for the 7 years of famine." So that's prepping in and of itself. There's an instruction in the Bible on how to do it. So even God tells us, hey, there's 7 years of feast and 7 years of famine. And while you're eating so much that you're throwing food away, you might want to put something away in case times get bad. And we don't have to have a Faraday. We don't have to have a World War II. We don't have to have all we could have is a bad Hurricane Katrina.
Yeah.
And you be ass out for 6 weeks and die because of you don't have any medicine, you don't have any pills, you don't have there were people that died. I remember this one woman during that Katrina thing. Her father died because he didn't was not able to get his injections, his diabetes injections, lay
100%.
out and died in the hot sun. So these are things that can happen to you if you're not prepared. And I yield.
Well done.
What you got, Mike Ball?
I said my piece, and I'm just thankful to have people like you guys. Kind of like what Aaron was saying, is it's all about who you surround yourself with, your network, and these are the things that I was gathering, and it's the people that you know and the people that you surround yourself with. For instance, if I wasn't hooked up with you guys right now, I wouldn't have just gotten the game that I just got. That's I don't know how many 20-year-olds are necessarily watching this kind of stuff, and so I'm glad that I was able to, and I still learn every day. I mean, these shows are seriously intense. Every time that we do a Diamond Effect show, it is as deep as it gets, so I'm just grateful to be here to be able to learn, and from you gentlemen, it's a blessing. And you're muted, by the way.
Yeah,
AB.
and you're muted, Archbishop.
Yeah, I can't mute you from my side. There you go.
My bad. Yeah, this like I said, this is something that we've been kind of doing for years now. Is just getting ready for what could happen, you know. So me and Aaron, like I said, I've known Aaron for years, and we've gotten together and worked on a lot of things. So like this is my bag here. So with this bag here, I every year I go sometimes twice a year. I take that bag, I go camping, and what I use is what's in this bag. So whether it goes, the food that we eating, whatever, everything comes from this bag. Fishing, trapping, whatever, comes from this bag. So I do it every year because when I come back, not only am I restocking, but I'm also putting in the stuff that I needed while I was out there. That keeps you, more focused on, okay, I didn't need this, but I know I need this. So I'm gonna add this to it. I need to add this to it. Before long, you got a big ass bag like this that you're carrying around. But it's crucial to where if you have to go and you have to go right now, I know I can grab this bag and I can take off and I can fend for myself in this with what I have in this bag. Now, is that something everybody needs to do? Yes, you do. And
Absolutely.
you should have everybody in your family, for your kids and everybody. You need to make one of these bags.
Even the dogs have a bag. My dogs have bags.
Right. And
Wow.
they're fairly inexpensive. Like I said, I didn't go out and spend hundreds of dollars at one time. This is bits and pieces that I put together throughout the years. Hell, I even got a shower. You know what I mean? I got
Wow.
everything you can think of in this bag. When I go out, I know I'm good when I go out. You know what I mean? But like I said, everybody needs to you got to be a little bit proactive about this stuff, because you don't want to wait until the last minute where you're trying to run out and grab stuff and it's not there. Okay. Now we could have went further on because I had more stuff. We could have kept going on and on and on.
Oh yeah, we can go on for hours about this topic. I know.
Is this: get yourself together, get your family together. If you have kids, get them out there and teach them this stuff. Teach them how to move. Teach them how to survive. Take these kids out and teach them how to fish. Take them hunting. Teach them how to do this stuff, because you never know, this stuff will happen. I've taught this stuff to my kids. Me and my kids been fishing from the time they was able to go out there and fish. We was out there fishing. Why? Because I'm teaching them something. You know what I mean? Give them a fish they eat for a day. Teach them how to fish that eat for a lifetime.
Right.
That's what a lot of this stuff is about. Taking that you have, and taking that knowledge that you have and give it to the ones that's younger than you, and hope that they learn enough that they can be able to survive if they need to, because not all the time they're going to be around you, to be able to to know the stuff that you know. So being able to teach them as much as you can teach them is the best thing to do. So that's my spiel. I'm glad everybody tuned in. Like I said, like, follow, share, tell everybody about this show so they can tap in and learn something. Get on the Diamond Effect, hit the button, subscribe, get on Black Biker TV, subscribe, get on Mike Ball, subscribe. You know what I mean? Aaron, he has a lot of the stuff that he's showing on here, he actually sells. So if you see his link down here, you looking for some stuff, hit him up. Because more than likely, if he don't have it, he can tell you where to get it from. And that'll help him out too. You know what I mean? So, like I said, glad everybody came out tonight. I think this was a damn good show. I'm
Yes, it
glad. Thank
was.
you for coming out and for spending some time with us. Thank you, Aaron, once again. I'm gonna try to do some more stuff with you. We're gonna try to do some little 15, 20-minute videos to where, doing different stuff to kind of show people how to do stuff. We'll start doing some stuff like that too, and putting it on, not on the show, but making like little videos to be able to
Totally. That's great.
Aaron had his hand up for a second. Aaron,
Yeah.
what were you
Well,
trying to say?
When you guys were talking about the bags, I want the people to understand that basic preparedness 101 are the bags. That's the minimum that you should have. I mean, you got 5 different types of bags. You have an EDC, which is your everyday carry. It's a very small item. You also have a GHB, which is a get home bag. A get home bag is about this size right here. EDC and get home bag are about the same bag. It's something you keep in your car. If a EMP happens or CME from the sun occurred and your car got cut off and you had to walk home from work, you would have enough supplies and gear and self-defense stuff in it to get you through for at least a day and a half. Because if there's rioting on the streets, you might have to hold up in a vacant house somewhere overnight and then move early in the morning when it's safer to move. Your second 2 bags would be what they call a bob, which is a bug out bag, or down south they call them good bags, which stands for get out of Dodge. Those are your bigger bags that would be enough to keep you going for anywhere from 72 hours to maybe 4 or 5 days of equipment and gear. Then your last bag is called an inch bag, INCH. It stands for I'm never coming home. The situation like Chernobyl just happened, you got to leave now. You're never going to be able to come back. Or you got the Taliban coming down the street and you got to hurry up and leave and you're never coming back. That's called an inch bag. And you got a lot more gear and equipment, and it's a lot heavier bag. It's almost close to probably 100 pounds.
Yes.
So I just want people to understand there's 5 different bags and you want to have at least 2. And that's basic prepping 101. Okay, I'm gonna stop.
I love it. I love it. This guy said exactly what I didn't have the terms, but I got several bags, and each bag is for a different how long I'm going to be gone or whatever. Man, you're a pro at this. You got all the terminology. I just know I had the bags. But what I think is crazy is that all 3 of us have a goddamn bag. We held up. Yeah, I got one. I got one. Mike Ball, you need a bag.
I do have a bag, by the way. I do have a bag. I need to stand and pull it out, but I do have a bag.
That's
but
all right.
I'm not prepped like the pantry level and all the levels and like all the crazy, like, for instance, I don't have that wind up, flashlight. I should get something like that. Absolutely. There's definitely things I was noting down, like, hey, I got to get this. Yeah.
This was fun. This was a fun night, man. Thank you, Art, for having me. I really appreciate it.
Oh man, anytime, brother. It's always good to have you on to talk to you, man. Like I said, I appreciate everybody for coming out. Appreciate you guys for watching. Like I said, I hope y'all take heed to what we was talking about, take some notes, and we'll see you in 7 days.
That's right. Much love and respect to everybody. We'll see you on the flip side.
Free. One day I'm gonna be everything I wanna be. I don't let it get the most of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be everything I'm gonna be. My future right in front of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be free. Then let me be free. One day I'm gonna be free. Mentally and physically, emotionally and spiritually. One day I'm gonna be free. I'm standing at the crossroads, I'm feeling like a lost soul. Don't know where I wanna go, but all I know is I wanna be free. They're telling me to let it be, but that just ain't in me, no. Jealousy and envy, but all I see is I wanna be free. See everything I wanna be, exactly what I'm gonna be. Don't let it get the most of me. Eventually, I'm gonna be free. See everything I wanna be, exactly what I'm gonna be. Yeah. One day I'm gonna be free. I'm gonna be free. Let me be free. One day I'm gonna be free. Mentally and physically, emotionally and spiritually. Yeah. One day I'm gonna be free. I told them take their aim off me. Stop trying to get a name off me. If they would just let me be, I'm gonna be free.